Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith TV, and here are the stories making headlines just beyond the continent. Let's begin in the Middle East, where Istanbul residents were jolted by a series of earthquakes on Wednesday, the strongest of which began in Silivri, a coastal town about 50 kilometers from the city center. The tremors were powerful enough to be felt as far as Bulgaria and even Greece, prompting panicked residents to flee their homes and shopkeepers to rush out of shaking buildings. While earthquakes are common in Turkey, concerns remain high about the city's preparedness. Earlier this year, Environment Minister Murat Kurum, he warned that Istanbul cannot withstand another major quake. Experts estimate that 1 in 5 buildings, around 1.5 million homes, are structurally unstable, with 600,000 at risk of collapsing within minutes in a high-magnitude disaster.
I still feel a little bit shaken emotionally, but I feel better now.
Are you leaving?
Yeah, I am leaving. I am leaving because I don't want to stay at dormitory because I had the earthquake here and I don't feel safe at staying here, and I don't know if I can sleep if I stay here.
I was at home actually in Levant, so I was lying down when I felt it actually. So I was like, "What's happening?" I've never experienced it before, so my first time actually. Yeah. So what did you have to do? Did you get out of the house?
News Central's senior international correspondent Adeshewa Josh joins us live from Istanbul to give us an update. Adeshewa, can you describe what you witnessed when the earthquake struck and tell us what the current situation on the ground is right now?
Judith, the situation is still precarious and frightening. I was in my apartment around 12:49 local time when I felt what felt like a vibration, but a little bit different this time. Everything was just shaking. It is not unusual to feel that way in Istanbul, but this particular one was just startling. And the first thing I did was I ran outside to see if, I was just imagining things. And then I saw that my neighbors were already outside, everyone asking, did you feel it? Did you not feel it? What are we going to do now? And then next thing, you're calling your loved ones to just check on them. So again, Istanbul is no stranger to earthquake. It's just the 6.2 magnitude earthquake really shook everyone. And for something that hit about 50 miles away from the city center, it definitely got a lot of people worried, Judith.
And have there been any aftershocks since the initial quake?
Indeed, the government said there had been 50 aftershocks after that. A couple of my friends that are still in the city did confirm a couple of, like an hour after the first big one hit, everyone just texting each other, oh, another one just hit. Oh, I just felt another one. And what makes this a bit scary is because Istanbul has a lot of high rise. The city is an ancient city for the most part, and you see a lot of old buildings all the way to the 16th, 15th, 18th century. Many of them are not earthquake compliant. They don't have the architectural structure to withstand a magnitude earthquake as big as a 6 or even 7, which is something that environmentalists have been forecasting for the past decade, saying that a big one is coming to Istanbul. And if there is any need to confirm that a big one is coming anytime soon, actually, then the 6.2 is confirmation that it could be any moment.
I mean, and what does this mean for residents that are coping with the fear of a potential larger quake, especially giving this past warnings by experts and officials that you just mentioned?
So you would recall that about 2 years ago in the southeast of Turkey, a big one hit. And even that one, there have been warnings upon warnings, and a couple of policies were set in place to make sure that new buildings are complying to what they call the earthquake policy, to make them able to be able to withstand the tremors, because it's not a matter of whether or not there would be earthquake, because the city sits on what they call the Anatolian fault line, which is very susceptible to earthquakes. So people are aware, and the average Istanbul resident has a bag packed with their essentials to when it happens and it's so bad, you just grab the bag and go, which was what I did today. Basically, I just have this black bag with me that has my passport and, you know, the essential things, my whatever I consider important that I can't leave behind in the case of a disaster. As soon as I felt it, went outside to confirm what's happening, you just strap on your bag and you're out. That has been the sensitization towards what is now going to be an inevitable situation. So now a lot of people just have that bag on standby. On my way back to my apartment, because I had to leave the apartment, I saw people just camping out by the fire in the neighborhood. A lot of people are prepared not to sleep in the apartment tonight because, you know, 50 aftershocks, that feels like there is more coming for some people, and for some other people that's the end, because what can they do? It's pretty cold outside. So for people who can't set up a campfire, what can they do? They can just be on standby and hope to be able to make it out of their building if and when it happens. Judith.
Very scary times indeed. I must say, Adishara, please keep safe as much as you can, and we hope for the best. Fingers crossed. Hopefully nothing happens after this 50 aftershocks. Fingers crossed. It's scary, I must tell you, but please keep safe, all right? Keep safe, please. I beg you. Adeshara Josh, Senior International Correspondent for News Central, giving us a bit of insight on the earthquake that was felt today in Istanbul Wednesday morning. Now, still in the Middle East, Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepens as the violence escalates again. Israel resumed its military campaign on March 18th after a fragile 2-month ceasefire collapsed. For News Central, international correspondent Afia Hagen brings you the latest details. Take a look.
In Gaza City, rescue workers are sifting through the devastation after Israeli airstrikes hit a school sheltering displaced families, leaving 11 dead, including women and children. Civil Defense spokesman Mahmoud Basal described a scene of horror, stating that the attack on Yafa School ignited a massive blaze, leaving many victims unrecognizably charred. Since fighting erupted following Hamas's attack on Israel in October 2023, tens of thousands of Gazans have sought safety in schools, now tragically becoming targets themselves. Gaza's civil defense urgently reports being overwhelmed, lacking essential equipment after airstrikes destroyed vehicles crucial for rescue and recovery operations. Elsewhere, the violence continues relentlessly. Airstrikes killed a child in northern Jabalia, another civilian in Khan Yunis in the south. In eastern Gaza City, shelling claimed more than 4 lives, with several still trapped under the rubble. Since fighting resumed, at least 1,890 Gazans have been killed, pushing the overall death toll in the war beyond 51,000. The renewed conflict marks one of the deadliest chapters in the region's history. Israel's military has justified recent strikes, claiming targets included vehicles used by Hamas for military purposes, though it has yet to comment directly on the latest devastating incidents. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has urged Hamas to release all hostages still held in Gaza, calling it the main reason for ongoing Israeli attacks on the territory. Speaking at a meeting in Ramallah on Wednesday, Abbas accused Hamas of giving what he called the criminal occupation justification to continue its assault on the Gaza Strip, with hostage-taking being the most prominent factor. The Palestinian Authority and Hamas remain deeply divided. Abbas's administration has repeatedly accused Hamas of undermining Palestinian unity, while Hamas accuses Abbas of cooperating with Israel and suppressing dissent in the West Bank.
ووفرت لهذا الاحتلال المجرم ذرائع مجانية لتنفيذ مؤامراته وجرائمه في قطاع غزة، وكان أبرز هذه الذرائع حجز الرهائن. ليش حجزوهم؟ طب أنا اللي عم بدفع الثمن مش إسرائيل. شعبنا بدفع الثمن. شفتوا العدد من 2007 الآن قديش صار؟ وكل يوم ندفع، ولك يا أخي سلمهم. مختلفة، وكانت مآلات كل هذه الأفعال التي قامت بها حماس ما نعايشه الآن من عدوان ودمار وانغلاق لآفاق المستقبل أمام شعبنا، ما يجعلها ملزمة أمامنا وأمام شعبنا بأن تنهي استيلاءها على الحكم والسلطة في قطاع غزة تماما، وأن تتركه لمنظمة التحرير الفلسطينية للتحرير. وجوب أن تنهي حركة حماس سيطرتها على قطاع غزة، وأن تسلم القطاع بكل شؤونه، وأن تسلم الأسلحة كذلك إلى السلطة الوطنية الفلسطينية. فيش في دولة بتحترم حالها فيها سلاحين. هاي لبنان قديش اشتغل حزب الله بالأخير.
And you're welcome back. And now it's off to Europe, where UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will attend the funeral of Pope Francis at the Vatican on Saturday. This is according to Starmer's spokesman, who also said that the Prime Minister would participate in a daily press briefing on Tuesday with Buckingham Palace, yet to say whether head of state King Charles III will join him.
Mr. Speaker, the entire House will join me in paying tribute to His Holiness Pope Francis, an extraordinary man. His lifelong work on fairness will leave a lasting legacy. And people of all backgrounds and beliefs were inspired by his humility and his compassion. And I think the outpouring of grief and love that we've seen in the last 2 days or so shows the respect and admiration that we've held in around the world. Mr. Speaker, I will attend his funeral on Saturday and pay tribute to his courage and to his leadership. May His Holiness rest in peace.
And now for more on this, I'm joined by international correspondent Afia Hagen. Afia, tell us, what are the latest updates from the Vatican City?
Well, yeah, you saw Keir Starmer there talking about the Pope, his life, his legacy in Parliament, while words being echoed all across the world at the moment. Today was the first day of the Pope lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica. Thousands of mourners were there to pay their respects to the Pope. Some really, really moving and stunning pictures from St. Peter's Basilica all through the day. And that will continue up until midnight. It's just around 9:15 in Italy, in the Vatican City at the moment. So around 3 hours left for people to pay their respects. Tomorrow, the same, from 7 a.m. through to midnight, people will be doing the same thing. And then up until 7 p.m. on Friday evening before St. Peter's Basilica closes for preparations for the funeral on Saturday. Now, there was a very moving and poignant service this morning, a procession taking Pope Francis's body from his resting place to St. Peter's Basilica for him to lie in state. Very emotional service this morning, and a lot of emotion being seen in St. Peter's Basilica throughout the day today as well.
And can you tell us more about the funeral arrangements for the Pope? We know that Keir Starmer has now mentioned that he'll be attending as well.
Yes, he will be. He's one of many world leaders who will be attending along with Donald Trump. He will be there, French President Emmanuel Macron, the President of the Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. He will be in attendance as well. Now, we know the Pope is being actually interred at another church, St. Mary Major, because he has always found that church to be a really inspirational and peaceful place for him. Before he would go off on a pilgrimage and come back, he would pray at St. Mary Major, pray at the feet of the Mother Mary. And so that's where he wants to be interred, in a tomb that will simply say Francisco on it. Just a very simple tomb. That's what he's asked for. So the funeral will hold a part where Pope Francis's body is taken from St. Peter's Basilica and taken to St. Mary Major, and plans are being set out for that at the moment of how all the logistics of that will occur. But the funeral will start on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. local time. That's 9 a.m. London and Lagos time.
Well, and what happens now in the process of choosing the new Pope? Well, conclave is about to begin, or has it started?
Yes, conclave is about to begin now. Conclave can begin no more than 15 days and no later than 20 days after the funeral
of Pope Francis. The earliest it can begin is around May the 5th. And it will be a process of 120 cardinals who are flying from all over the world, and we've seen them arriving already. And their job is to pick the successor to Pope Francis. Now, around 80% of those cardinals have been handpicked by Pope Francis throughout his papacy. Those were people that he picked to be cardinals. Does that mean we can expect a pope that has similar thoughts and you know, a similar way of thinking to him? Not necessarily, because remember, the picking of a pope is guided by the Holy Spirit, not by politics and not by popularity. I know you want to ask me, how long will it be before we get a new pope? The answer to that is, how long is a piece of string? There is no set time or set length that it can take to get a new pope. Now, the longest conclave that went on was 33 months. It was in the 1200s. The shortest conclave has been 1 day, and that was a year after that first one. They decided to do the next one rather quickly. So, on average, it will take 2 to 3 weeks before we see that white smoke, and the white smoke signals that we have a new pope. But conclave will begin not immediately, probably around the 5th of May. So we are in for the long haul, Judith.
Yes, indeed, we are in for long enough. Yeah, I must say thank you for that in-depth analysis on what conclave will look like. Fingers crossed for the new pope as the Vatican is vacant. But again, our heart goes out to His Holiness as he rests in peace. A remarkable man indeed. Afia, thank you. We'll switch gears now to the U.S., where President Donald Trump has said the country can't have a trial for every undocumented immigrant, calling for faster deportations of what he described as, quote, very bad people, killers, murderers, and drug traffickers, end quote. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of Paul Atkins as head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Trump expressed hope for, quote, cooperation from the courts, and, quote, in expediting removals. Now, his remarks reignite debate over immigration policy and due process amid ongoing legal and political battles on the issue. U.S. Senior Advisor for Africa, Masad Bolus, has said that President Donald Trump values Africa despite announcing sweeping aid cuts that have caused considerable humanitarian distress across the continent. Trump announced the aid freeze on his first day in office in January, in line with his America First foreign policy, while Trump's recent tariffs have raised fears of the end of a trade deal between the U.S. and Africa meant to boost economic growth. The aid cuts have affected health programs across Africa, including shipments of critical medical supplies, including HIV drugs. No government or fossil fuel interest can hold the world back from pursuing a clean energy future. This is according to the UN Secretary General after a key meeting with the President of China. Antonio Guterres held a closed-door virtual meeting with Xi Jinping of China on Wednesday, along with Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and about a dozen other heads of state and government to discuss the climate crisis.
We don't have a moment to lose. No region is being spared from the ravages of accelerating climate catastrophes. And the crisis is deepening poverty, displacing communities, and fueling conflict and instability. Countries are waking up to a clear fact. Renewables are the economic option.
And now to South Asia, where India's defense minister has vowed a swift and decisive response following the deadliest civilian attack in Kashmir in years. Now, his comments come a day after gunmen opened fire at a popular tourist destination in the contested Himalayan region, killing 26 men. While no group has claimed responsibility, the minister said the government will take, quote, every necessary and appropriate step, end quote, in response. The attack has reignited tensions in Muslim-majority Kashmir, where a decades-long insurgency seeks independence or union with Pakistan. Both India and Pakistan claim the region in full while controlling separate parts of it.
इतनी पुरानी सभ्यता और इतना बड़ा देश है जिसको ऐसे किसी भी आतंकी गतिविधियों से किसी भी सूरत में डराया नहीं जा सकता। ऐसी हरकतों का जिम्मेदार और इसके जिम्मेदार लोगों को आने वाले कुछ ही समय में जोरदार तरीके से नजर आएगा। मैं देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं। और हम सिर्फ उन लोगों तक नहीं पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने इस घटना को अंजाम दिया है, हम उन तक भी पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने पर्दे के पीछे बैठकर हिंदुस्तान की सरजमी पर ऐसी नापाक हरकतों की साजिशें रची हैं कि टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। भारत का एक एक नागरिक
And off to East Asia, where Kenya's president has called for deeper collaboration between Kenya and China in education, technology, and global reform during a keynote address at China's prestigious Peking University. He praised the university's long-standing role in fostering China-Africa academic ties and highlighted its impact on thousands of African students, including many Kenyans. The president proposed expanded partnerships in AI, biotech, and STEM, citing Kenya's Silicon Savannah and upcoming national AI strategy as key drivers. He also urged reform of the UN Security Council and global financial institutions, calling them outdated and unrepresentative. On trade and climate, he emphasized equity, digital innovation, and a global carbon tax. President Ruto reiterated Kenya's readiness to be a bridge between East and West, North and South. And that's all on Beyond the Continent. Now, do remember that if you are on the continent of Africa, make sure to send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media or at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422. We're also on GoTV. Find us as channel 23. Find us on Star Times as well, channel 274. Find us on Avo TV. And if you are beyond the continent, stream us live on YouTube. Hey, thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Good night.